So of course some Republicans step up to defend Donald Trump after the Comey firing. Mitch McConnell goes in front of cameras and goes, what independent counsel? What special prosecutor? No, of course not. Nothing to look at here. And then Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is the deputy press secretary, now filling in for Sean Spicer, apparently soon to be fired. Well, we'll see how that turns out. Anyway, comes in with, what investigation? Watch.
A lot of the analysis concerns investigation. How will the firing of Comey affect that?
I don't think it affects it at all in any capacity whatsoever. You've still got the same people that would be carrying out that, whether it's through the Department of Justice, that process continues. But I think the bigger point on that is, my gosh, Tucker, when are they going to let that go? It's been going on for nearly a year. Frankly, it's kind of getting absurd. There's nothing there. We've heard that time and time again. We heard it in the testimonies earlier this week. We've heard it for the last 11 months. There is no there. It's time to move on. And frankly, it's time to focus on the things that the American people care about. They're not worried about this false narrative that the media continues to want to drive.
He just fired Comey. Time to move on already. I mean, why are we still talking about this, right? So of course, the president's loyalists will come out there and say absurd things like that. Now, on the other hand, there were plenty of Republicans who were like, I don't know, man, this looks pretty bad. Richard Burr is the head of the committee that is charged with investigating this, and he's a Republican, but he wrote, I am troubled by the timing and reasoning of Director Comey's termination. Like, really? We're firing him because of what he did to Hillary Clinton? I'm troubled by that very weak ass excuse. And why now, after we've known about that for months and months? Okay, Jeff Flake says, I've spent the last several hours trying to find an acceptable rationale for the timing of Comey's firing. I just can't do it. That is a sitting Republican senator going, there's no rationale for this. Of course he fired him because he was investigating Trump, not because of what he did to Hillary Clinton earlier. John McCain said he was, quote, disappointed with what happened. He went on to say the removal of Director Comey only confirms need for a select committee to investigate Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Now, what did I tell you guys? Once the Republicans start heading for the doors, that's when you know Trump's in a lot of trouble, because Republicans will stick together almost no matter what. If they're now all of a sudden tiptoeing backwards, like, and what did I tell you was the first step? Jason Chaffetz in the House. He's the guy who's supposed to be investigating Trump in the House, and he's a Republican. All of a sudden, he's like, I gotta go. I'm thinking of retiring. Yeah, he's a young guy, you know. A lot of ambition. Maybe he'll run for governor of Utah later, but for him to all of a sudden, and then at first he was like, yeah, I gotta go, right? I'm gonna leave. And everybody thought it was at the end of his term because his term just started. And then the next day he comes out, he's like, no, you don't get it, not at the end of my term. I gotta go right now. Because he doesn't want to be stuck investigating Donald Trump. It's a lose-lose for him. So now that's one of Trump's allies. A lot of these guys, not so much allies, right? Flake is, never ginned to Trump to begin with. They've had interactions back and forth that were not pleasant. And then John McCain, of course, you remember what Trump said about him. I prefer people who weren't captured, said the guy who never went to Vietnam. Okay, so that's Donald Trump, got 5 deferments. Now, he ran against Governor Kasich in Ohio. Here's what Kasich had to say. He said, I am extremely troubled by the circumstances surrounding the dismissal of FBI Director James Comey, who has served this nation honorably. Both parties in Congress must put partisanship aside and put our country first to ensure there are full and fair investigations into Russia's effort to influence our election. So now this is step 2. Step 1 is when allies start backing away, like Richard Burr and Chaffetz, and they're like, oh, I gotta go, right? Step 2 is the Republicans he pissed off earlier are like, oh, payback's a bitch. When he loses Paul Ryan, who has never liked him in the first place, but knows that if he crosses Donald Trump, there's a huge price to pay with his base. When he loses Paul Ryan, it's over. That's when you know the resignation is coming. He hasn't lost him yet. That's step 3. All right, one more quote for you guys from the House, where Ryan is. Justin Amash, he's another significant right-winger, but again has had some disagreements with Trump in the past, says, my staff and I are reviewing legislation to establish an independent commission on Russia. The second paragraph of this letter, referring to Trump's letter firing Comey, is bizarre. Referring to how he's like, now Comey told me in private 3 different times he's not investigating me in Russia. He told me. Why would you write that? And of course it's bizarre. And by the way, sitting president is not supposed to be talking about ongoing investigations. So we've already gone through 2 steps of what it's going to take to get Trump out. And these are the things I laid out for you ahead of time, and these are the things that are happening today. So those were your markers for if Donald Trump is in trouble, this is what will happen. 2 out of the 3 has happened. When Paul Ryan pulls the chute, Trump is done for. So look for that next. We already have a poll out, tytnetwork.com/Trump. Is Donald Trump done? I already voted yes. So Paul Ryan will be the final nail in the coffin, but I can see where this train is headed, and it's not headed for a good place for Donald Trump.
Our reporter Jordan Chatton broke the Donna Brazile story. He was right, she just apologized for it. Help us get more reporters like that. You're the one responsible for that. Thank you, and let's do more right now at tytnetwork.com/go.